Alright, Subpart B, System and Diagram, Part 1152. 1152.10, System Diagram Map. Each of the carrier with the prepared with the diagram of the rail system with the magnet designated with the old line with the system with the category established in paragraph D with the section class 3 carrier shall either prepare with the aforementioned with the map of the rail system with the finally own with the narrative description of this line with the provide all of the information reviewed by the subpart. All lines with each of the carrier rail system shall be separated with the following categories. 1. All lines portion which have the carrier anticipate with the subject for the abandonment of the discontinuity application to be filed for the 3-year period following the date of the open upon which the diagram of the narrative or any of the amended diagram or narrative is filed with the board. 2. All lines, a portion of the lines which are potentially subject for the abandonment of the defined as though for the carrier with the under the subsite and the belief that the subject for the future abandonment of the application become with the even the anticipated operational loss, the excessive of the rehabilitation costs as compared with the potential revenues on line with the portion of line with the abandonment of the discontinued with the application pending with the board with the date of the upon diagram or narrative as amended with the diagram and the narrative is filled with the board of all lines with the portion in line with which are being operated with the rail service continuation supervision of the Title 49 U.S. Standard Code 1094, formerly 49 U.S. Standard Code 1095. The other date of the with the diagram narrative is amended with the diagram with the narrative is filled with the board. All other lines of the portion of lines which carry its own operative with the directly and indirectly. The system diagram map should be color coded with the show of the 5 categories of lines is followed with the red shell show of the lines described in 1152.10b1. The green shell designate those lines described in 1150.10b2. Yellow should designate those lines described in 1152.10b3, and brown shall designate those lines described in 1152.10b4. Black or dark blue shall designate those lines described in 1152.10b5. The system diagram map shall also identify shall be drawn with a scale sufficient to depict clearly with the location, all the state of the boundaries, and even with the country will have saturated the rail line with the own, with the operative, with the carrier, with which is located with the categories 1 through 4, 1152b1 through 4. Every standard metropolitan statistical area with any portion which is located with 5 air miles of the rail line owned with the operative with the carrier with each city outside of the standard metropolitan statistical area that has a population of 5,000 or more persons according to the last publication of the United States Census report, which of the name of the portion of the 5 air miles of the rail line owned and operated by the carrier. Series of interrelated maps may be used with the system serve with a very large or congested area with explanation interrelation must be furnished. 1152.11 the description of the line of the company with the system diagram map of the information to be contained in the narrative. Each carrier required to file with the system the script diagram map of the narrative shall leave it to describe separately by the category with each of the category by the state of all lines of the portions to identify with the system diagram map to be included with the narrative that is following with the category 1 through 3. Or 1152b1 through 3 with the carrier's designation, each of the line with each of the Vansville secondary track and states in which each line is located with the counties in which each line with the located miles post delineated each line with a portion of the line agency termination station located at each of the line with a portion of the mile post designation. 1152.12 filing and publication. Each of the carrier required with the file system diagram map of the narrative shall be with the board of the 3 copies with a complete update with the color coded system diagram map of the narrative identified with its AB numbered with the accompanied with the description of the conformance of the filing with the publication requirements of the section. If the revised map of the narrative is filed with the line description with the line with the revised must be filed. The color-coded system diagram of the map of the narrative of the men with the accompanying with the description served with the with the governor and public servant of the commission is equivalent with the agency with the designated with the state with the agency each of the state within the carrier operates owned with the line with the railroad with the carrier shall 1 publishing in the newspaper general circulation each of the county with the contained with the category 1 through 3 lines will be revived with the notice containing a black and white copy of the system diagram map of the portion or of the map clearly depicting lines in the county with the lines in that county, and a description of each of the line with the class of 3 carrier with the only with the line with the description is required with the post a copy with the newspaper notice each of the agency station termination each line with the category 1 through 3 and each line with it has been revised. Either there is no agency station on the line with any of the station with throughout which of the business line is received with the forwarded furnished with a reasonable cost upon request of the interested person with a copy of the system diagram map of the, and either color coded black and white of the narrative to notify interested person with availability through the publication appropriate county of the newspaper. Each of the carrier required follow a system diagram of the narrative shall file with the board of affidavit of the service publication stating with the date of each of the was accomplished copy each of the newspaper notice published with the attached affidavit the effective the date of the following initial system diagram map of the narrative each of the each amended system diagram map of the narrative is required with the paragraph A with the section shall be deemed to with the date of the board receive the affidavit required with in this paragraph of the board shall require the republication of the notice is found with the inadequate. 1152.13. Amendment of the system of the diagram narrative. Each character shall be responsible to maintain the continuing accuracy of the system diagram map with accompanying with a line description and the narrative of the amendment that may be filed with any time with the subject of the L carrier filing the publication requirements. 1152.12 of the March 24th, 1997. Each of the carriers shall file with the board revive with the update of the color-coded system diagram map with a line with the description and narrative shall be subject to the filing with the publication. 1152.12. Thereafter, each of the carriers shall file with amendments as line with the designation chain with the update with his map narrative. As appropriate, also, the carrier shall be filed with updated amendment with the narrative upon order with the board. Each new carrier shall comply with the requirements of the subject for the 60 days after it becomes a carrier. The board will reject the amendment with the discontinuity application filed with the rail carrier if any of the board of the application includes the line that has not been identified and described by amendment. Otherwise, our carrier system diagram map of the narrative is appropriate in line categories 1 and for at least 60 days. 11.12.14. Availability data. Each carrier shall provide with the designated name of the state agency upon the request information concerning the new liquidation value is defined in 1152.34c with any of the line placed with the category 1 1152.10b1. System diagram map of the narrative together with the description of the such line with the improvement facility with the other condition 1152.12.15 with the reservation jurisdiction. Title 49 U.S. Standard Code 1093 with the 1C1 for the board description for the provide with the designation line with the potential subject with abandonment with the upon standard with the much vary with the region with the United States by railroad or by group of the railroads of the board expressly reserves the right to adopt them such varying standards in the future. Subpart C. Procedure governing notice and application of the financial assistance and acquisition, public use, and trail use.